In today's video, we are going to talk about the socks that I'm knitting for Anton, my husband, the Riika top that I'm currently making, and the shawl that I almost completely frogged. Let's get started. Good day everyone and welcome back to the channel. My name is Mariet, also known as Die Boervrou, and this is episode 55 of the Crafty Stitches Podcast. Today that I'm recording this is Thursday the 25th of January 2024, and I'm coming to you from South Africa. I just had to check the date because I actually tried filming this yesterday and yeah, things didn't go according to plan, so I am back trying to do it again today. Alright, so let's quickly talk about what I'm wearing. This is the Bella blouse that I knit with 100% cotton yarn with no sleeves, and I think I finished this one in episode 53 if you want more details on that. But all of the project pages will be linked down below, and you will be able to find the information on my Ravelry project pages. I really try to put as much information on there as I can and not give the pattern away. So I really love this one. I do have to wear something underneath because the lace is quite low, but anyway, I really love the look of this V-shaped lace, so I'm still loving the project even though I have to wear something underneath. It is very hot today. I was sitting underneath a fan and I'm really thinking I need a fan in this craft room. I've been talking about this fan for so long, but I do need a fan. I know that I don't think I'd be able to record a podcast with the fan going, except if I maybe get creative with some, I don't know, foam or something, but yes, we shall see. Anyway, let me not sit here and talk about fans. That's not why you are here. You're here so that we can talk about knitting. So I have 3 projects to share with you today, and I think we will start with the one that I almost completely frogged. So let's start with the shawl. So the shawl I am knitting out of Knotty Habit 4-ply light fingering weight yarn, and this is the colorway name. And yes, it's the first time I'm working with the 4-ply light fingering 100% superwash merino yarn, and I really like it a lot. It's really pretty. And then I started to knit the Kindness shawl, which is a variation of the 4 of a Kind pattern by Brenda Brayfield, if I remember correctly. And this is what the yarn looks like in the yarn cake. Really pretty colorway. And then I am basically back at where I was in the previous episode, where the only difference is this turned into the second variation of the Kindness shawl, which is Spread the Kindness. So I ripped back to this little marker here, and then I changed to the Spread Kindness shawl patterning. So you will see there's a little bit of stockinette in between. So I was sitting yesterday when I was trying to film the podcast the first time, and I was wondering why I'm not progressing on the shawl. And wondering about it, I realized that I might be getting a little bit bored with just knitting with a plain garter, and I decided to add some texture. And then I decided, okay, let me change into one of the other variations of the shawl. And I have to say, I ripped back last night because this is about how long it was before, and then I ripped back to there and I knit this whole piece last night, and I was like, I like this. So I don't know, I'm really enjoying this so far. I'm really hoping that this will be it for the shawl. I'm thinking that I might like this yarn more in just plain stocking stitch, but for now I'm gonna try and stick to this patterning and see how I like it in a day or 3. But I think it came out really pretty. Oh, did I say where the stitch marker is from? This little stitch marker is from Annegret from Tunisian Crafts. And it is really pretty, and it's a little bit sparkly. The pink has a little bit of a glitter to it. Really, really pretty. Alright, so let me move the marker, and then I know I'm not re-recording this podcast. Luckily, yesterday, when I tried to do this the first time, I did not move any markers, so they're all still where they were in episode 54. Alright, so that one is now moved. Right, and I am using the recommended needle size, which is a 3.5 millimeter knitting needles. I think that's it. Right, next project is the socks that I'm knitting for my husband Anton, and I'm knitting it using this opal yarn. And that is the colorway. I'm really liking this yarn as well. This is what it looks like in the yarn cake. Right. And I did not knit a lot on it. I just knit that little piece from this little marker, which is also a stitch marker from Annegret from Tunisian Crafts, and this one is really pretty. Okay, so I just did that little bit, and this is a this is my own pattern, the DB toe up socks, and this is a 72 stitch sock, and yes. Not far into it yet, but it's not a priority project because it's just there. If I have nothing else to knit on, I have this to keep my hands occupied. So I'm knitting this on 2.25 millimeter needles on DPNs. This is the Knit Pro Smart Sticks, the 14 centimeter ones. You do get them in 20 centimeter as well, I believe. And I think that is all of that for the socks as well. I don't think I have anything much else to share, except that it's not a priority project and I'm just knitting on it whenever I am not knitting on a Battenberg block or on one of my other projects. Alright, the other day we had guests and I just knit like 4 rounds on the sock while I was waiting for dinner to finish cooking, because I couldn't chat and knit on something with a patterning. Alright, Then the project that got the most love and work is my Riika top. I'm knitting this one, well, this is my second one, and both of them are knit from the L Cottons 4-ply. And this one is in the colorway 003 Baby Blue. It's 100% cotton and it has 156 meters on 50 grams. And I do know that on the camera it looks a little bit more saturated than in real life, but it is a real baby blue. Even this is a little bit more saturated than in real life in the camera. Alright, so this is what it looks like in the little yarn cake. I do cake them up as well, even though they do come in little cakes, but I cake them up so that they fit my yarn cake cozies so that I can use them. Alright, so in the previous episode, yesterday I had the same problem. Let me turn this stitch marker around, because I had to hold this upside down. Alright, so this is also a stitch marker from Annegret from Pincushion Crafts, and in the previous episode I was just busy still with the back piece. I think I did start the shaping, but I haven't finished the shaping. So I started at this point and I knit my way down, and I was at where this stitch marker is. And then I finished the shaping for the armholes. I picked up stitches for the two fronts and I knit that, joined them together, finished the shaping and joined the back and the front, and started knitting in the round until I had that much knitting done. And then I ran out of yarn because the yarn cake was finished, and I then put it on the barber cords to do the neckline and the armholes so that I can see that it's not too big, because the previous one I made is a little bit big, and the reason for that is that my gauge is completely off. The pattern gauge is 30 stitches by 40 rows in 10 centimeters, and my gauge is 28 stitches by 36 rows. So if I work that out for the size that I'm knitting, which I think is a size small, now I'm knitting a size small, but I should be knitting, I think, a size medium. And if I knit with the size in the pattern, the stitch size in the pattern, if I knit at the stitches given in the pattern with my gauge, the circumference of the top will be 6 centimeters bigger than intended in the pattern, because of my gauge that is not the same. So I am knitting a size small to compensate for that, but because my row gauge is also off, I am doing a little bit of maths to work out how many rows I should knit, because the pattern is written in so many rows, like you do this for so many times, which gives you so many rows. So I take that with the pattern gauge and then I work it out and I see, okay, this amount of rows result in knitting of 12 centimeters, for example. And if I take my gauge and I knit that amount of rows, I will get 14 centimeters. So a difference of a lot, a centimeter to 2 centimeters in all of the instructions that I've done so far. So then I just shorten my things a little bit. So say for instance, I have to just knit plain for 9 centimeters. I knit with my gauge until I get 9 centimeters. And then if I have to do the shaping over 6 centimeters, I try and squeeze the shaping in by, for instance, sometimes doing shaping on the wrong side row and at the right side row, just to compensate and not have the top become too long, because if you have been here for a while and you saw me making the other one, you would have remembered that my armhole opening was like down here, and I had to sew it up a little bit because I did not focus and make sure that my row gauge is also right. So this is looking wonderfully. I'm looking forward to getting the body a little bit longer so that I can actually put it on and show it on camera, but at this point I don't think that'll be a good idea. But anyway, so the neckline is perfect. I was thinking that maybe my ribbing is a little bit loose, but if I put it on, because it stretches out a little bit, it lays perfectly flat against my body. And then I picked up stitches for the armholes and I knit 2 rounds, and I saw that it was too big because it was folding back into itself. And then I took that out and I picked up a different rate of stitches, and then that was working perfectly, and that is the first armhole also finished. So I am now at the point where I'm gonna pick up the second armhole ribbing and finish that, and then I will continue with the body. I do have some alterations that I want to do to the body. I'm not at all sure how to do it yet. I think when I was putting this on, it looks like I would not need to do A-line shaping for this garment at all. I was thinking I would have to, but it seems not. But the thing that I would like to change is, because a body is not flat in the front, what happens with my purple one is my hem goes in a, I don't know, it lifts up over the bust, because obviously there's some shaping there, and then it lifts up and my hem lays a little bit skew. So I was thinking of trying to do short rows in the front just to level that out a little bit at the hemline. So I'm not exactly sure how I'm going to do that, but I'm thinking of doing that before starting the bottom ribbing. I have no idea how I'm going to do it, but I will figure that out when I get to it. That is the plan so far, and I'm really happy with how this came out. When I put it on, it is more to my neck than on my shoulder. Like the purple one, the neckline is also a little bit big because I didn't do many calculations really for that one. I was just knitting according to the pattern instructions and not really paying attention that much to my gauge problem. So this results in a much better fit, and I cannot wait to wear it. As you can see, I knit a lot on it since the previous episode, and I think now that I've shown it, it's gonna even fly off the needles more. I'm very happy with this, and I cannot wait to finish it so that I can wear it, because it is so hot. We need all the sleeveless tops and all the light tops. And I do have a skirt, 2 skirts that I can wear this with, so I'm looking forward to getting this one done. So I'm knitting the size small, and I am using the recommended needle size of 3mm needles. That is also one thing. I could have maybe changed my needle size to get the right gauge, but I didn't want to do that. I don't want to knit a garment on needles less than 3mm at this stage in my knitting journey. So the ribbings is knit with 2.5mm needles, and that is fine, but I did not want to knit the whole garment in smaller needles. And I think that the cotton will really become a little bit stiff if I do go down a needle size. So I'm sticking to the 3mm, and I'm making lots of maths and doing lots of maths to make it work. And I'm really happy with how it is coming out so far. Cannot wait to get it done. I don't know how many yarns, how many cakes have I caked up already? 3? I think this is my 3rd cake. There's 2 labels and here's one, so I think this is the 3rd cake. And I mean, I've knit a lot with 100 grams of yarn, 125 maybe grams of yarn. Anyway, so that is the Riika top. Very happy with that. I am trying to make lots of notes so that I can make this again in this fit. So yes, I think that is all of the projects. So what I'm doing basically, because I'm working from a printed copy of the pattern, is I used I think the first time I used like a grey pencil when I was knitting the purple one. So now that I'm knitting the blue one, I have a pink pencil and I'm using the same pattern, a printed copy, and I'm making lots of notes. And I think when I'm finished with this, I will pull that up into my OneNote notes app and just put all of the notes into my notes app in my projects, so that I know next time exactly what I did. Because I can make notes on Ravelry, but I can't make exact notes because it's a paid for pattern. So I have to make some notes on another place where I can exactly replicate this if I want to do it again. So I think that is what I will do. That seems to be working very well for me. I'm just mentioning it because I did mention previously that I am reading the book Building a Second Brain and learning to use a notes app. And yes, I've been using Microsoft OneNote for 2 months, I think 2 months now, and it's working very well. And I'm trying to take more notes when I knit something from a pattern and from my own patterns, because every time you want to replicate that change, you need to know where you made the notes. Otherwise, it doesn't help. Anyway, so let's move on and see what else is there. I'm just looking on my computer here to make sure I have mentioned everything. I think that is it. So let's move on to what's been happening. Not that that is much, but okay. I have to say the past 2 weeks there was not a lot happening. I knit and did maths for my design, as well as for the Riika top that I'm modifying so much. And I've been baking, cleaning, doing all of the things. So not a lot has happened that is really interesting. The only other news that I have is this Sunday, the 28th of January 2024, we will have the 22nd episode of the Surplus Yarn Stories on YouTube, which is a show that I co-host with my friend Liani from Independence Yarn Crafts, where we talk about all of our surplus yarn projects and the Battenberg make-along that we are hosting for 2 years. The first year has passed and 2024 is the second year, and we share all of the progress on our projects there that we make with leftover yarns, as I said, and you're more than welcome to come join us there and see those projects. We would love to have you. So you can keep an eye out for that. We will be sharing the links to the live and so forth very soon. Alright, I think that is it for this episode. If you are a returning viewer, I want to say thank you so much for coming back. And if you're new here, I hope that you enjoyed this episode and that you will consider sticking around. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel if you'd like to see any more of my content. And I will see you in the next one. Until next time, happy crafting. Bye.